Think for a second about the sheer, unbelievable scale of the human body. I mean, you are walking around with trillions, literally trillions of individual cells inside of you right now. But how do these trillions of cells actually manage to keep you alive and functioning without just descending into pure, unadulterated chaos? Well, welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into the absolute genius biological strategy that prevents all that chaos. We're talking about tissues.
Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover what exactly a tissue is. Then we'll look at the great divide between plants and animals. After that, we'll explore plant tissues, both the growing meristematic ones and the permanent ones. And finally, we'll wrap up with the 4 types of animal tissues.
All right, let's jump right into part 1. What is a tissue? The foundation of life. So really, how do those trillions of cells keep you alive without pure chaos? To get this, we kind of have to zoom all the way out, shifting our perspective from the whole organism down to the microscopic level. Imagine a massive city with billions of residents, but absolutely zero jobs, no roles, and no organization whatsoever. Everyone's just running around bumping into each other. Nothing would ever get done, right? Well, the exact same goes for the living body. To actually survive, thrive, and pull off incredibly complex tasks, your cells need a highly organized system. And that brings us to the hierarchy of life. Look at how this naturally builds. We don't just magically jump from a single cell to a full human being. Individual cells group together to form tissues. Then, multiple tissues combine to create an organ, like your heart or your stomach. From there, organs work together in organ systems, like your digestive or circulatory system. And all of those systems working in perfect harmony, that's what makes you the organism. So let's nail down the actual definition here. A tissue is basically a group of similar cells with a common origin that work together to perform a specific function. Simply put, they're a team. Oh, and if you really want to sound smart at your next trivia night, you can drop the fact that the specialized study of these cellular teams is called histology, a term that goes way back in early biology. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is this concept of division of labor. Think of it kind of like a massive family wedding. If everyone tries to cook the food, greet the guests, and set up the chairs all at the exact same time, it is a total disaster. But if you assign one group of cousins to handle the catering, another to manage the guests, and a third to do the heavy lifting, the whole event runs like a dream. Tissues do exactly this for the body. They divide up the labor so the organism can run at peak efficiency.
Moving on to part 2, plants versus animals, the great divide.
When we look at how plants and animals divide up their labor, we start to see some massive differences. Plants, for starters, are stationary. They're anchored in one place. They don't have to hunt for food, which means they need way less energy. What they do need, though, is rigid structural support to stand tall against the wind and weather. Because of that, a massive chunk of plant tissue is actually made up of tough, dead cells. Animals, on the flip side, are highly mobile. We are constantly burning energy to move, hunt, and find shelter. And because we're always moving and repairing ourselves, the vast majority of animal tissues are made of living, highly dynamic cells that grow uniformly across the body. Which brings us to part 3, plant tissues, meristematic or the growing tissues. Now, what is seriously fascinating is how plants manage continuous, lifelong growth, and it's all thanks to meristematic tissue. Fun fact, the word meristem actually comes from a Greek word meaning to divide. These are essentially rapid-fire cellular factories, and their sole reason for existing is to just divide and create new cells. They are so busy dividing, in fact, that they don't even have vacuoles. Those are the little storage units inside a normal cell. They literally don't have the time or the need to store food. Their only job is rapid reproduction. There are 3 main types of these dividing tissues, and it all depends on where they're located. First up is apical, which is found at the very tips of roots and shoots, constantly pushing the plant taller and deeper. Next is lateral, which handles growth in thickness or girth. This is exactly how a skinny little sapling eventually turns into a massive, wide oak tree. And finally, intercalary. You'll find these at the nodes. Think of the rings on a stalk of sugarcane or bamboo. They help those specific segments grow in length super quickly. All right, part 4, plant tissues, permanent, the working tissues. So what actually happens when those rapidly dividing cells grow up? Well, they lose the ability to divide and become simple, permanent tissues, basically taking on full-time jobs. First, we have parenchyma. These are living cells that act like the plant's pantry. They store food and help out with photosynthesis. Then, collenchyma. Also living, but these guys give the plant support with a bit of flexibility. You know when a strong wind blows and a stem bends all the way over but doesn't snap? Yeah, you can thank collenchyma for that. And lastly, sclerenchyma. These are the dead cells that provide extreme strength and hardness. If you've ever nearly broken a tooth trying to crack open a tough walnut shell or struggled to pull apart a fibrous coconut husk, you were battling sclerenchyma tissue. Beyond those simple tissues, plants also rock some complex permanent tissues, which basically act as the plant's internal plumbing system. Xylem is the water pipe. It transports water and minerals exclusively upwards from the roots to the rest of the plant, and it's mostly made of tough, dead cells. Phloem, on the other hand, is the food delivery service. It transports the food made in the leaves during photosynthesis up, down, and all around to wherever the plant needs it. And to pull off this act of transport, it relies primarily on living cells. Okay, let's move to our final section, part 5, the 4 animal tissues, the real movers and shakers. First up on the animal side is epithelial tissue. The prefix epi means upon or over, and that is the perfect description of its job. It is the ultimate covering tissue. It forms the protective shield of your outer skin, absolutely, but it also heavily lines your internal organs. So whether it's the squamous cells lining your blood vessels, the columnar cells absorbing nutrients in your guts, or the cuboidal, ciliated, and stratified layers projecting everything else, epithelial tissues act as the ultimate physical barrier and absorption layer. Next in line, we have connective tissue. As the name totally gives away, it connects, binds, and supports all your body parts, making sure you don't just, fall apart into a puddle of cells on the floor. And what's wild is the sheer variety of it. We're talking the flexible binding of areolar tissue, the rock-hard rigidity of your bones, the squishy cartilage in your nose, adipose tissue which stores your fat, and get this, even a completely flowing liquid tissue, your blood. Yep, blood is technically classified as a connective tissue. Moving right along to muscular tissue, these are the high-energy cells packed with proteins that literally pull and contract to make you move. We break these down into 3 types. Skeletal muscles are voluntary. They're attached to your skeleton, letting you actually choose to run, jump, or, dance around the room. Smooth muscles, though, are involuntary. They're working behind the scenes in organs like your stomach, smoothly pushing food through your system without you even having to think about it. And then cardiac muscle is found exclusively in your heart, involuntarily and rhythmically beating every single second of your life without ever taking a break. Pretty amazing. Finally, we reach the nervous tissue. This is the body's highly intelligent, ultra-rapid messaging system. It's built out of incredibly specialized cells called neurons. And some of these neurons can be remarkably long, literally stretching from your spinal cord all the way down to your toes. They carry electrical and chemical signals across your body in fractions of a millisecond. These are the crucial messages that tell your muscles to move, your lungs to breathe, and your eyes to process the screen right in front of you. So right at this very second, muscle is pumping your blood, nerves are processing everything in this explainer, and epithelium is standing guard to protect you from the outside world. It's the ultimate display of biological efficiency. As you go about the rest of your day, maybe just take a quick second to appreciate this microscopic machinery humming along inside you. What incredible things will your trillions of specialized cells do for you next? Keep exploring, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.